I really don't think you're going to see much of a change, especially in McAllister. He's going to be exclusively on the outside, just letting teams get burnt by him. I mean, he averaged nearly 20 yards per reception last season.
Hello, everyone. Nathan and Alan here. We are your Hill Brothers. And Alan, it is finally that time once again. The 2025 North Carolina football season is finally here. We are in game week. Currently, we're recording this the week before, so we're giving ourselves a tease. But when you guys see this, we're in game week, and we are super excited as the TCU Horned Frogs come over to Chapel Hill in Kenan Stadium to face the newly led Bill Belichick North Carolina Tar Heels. Dude, we've talked about this game. It's going to be a raucous atmosphere. We've already discussed this. We wish we were going to be there. We're going to be live on a watch party with you guys, but we need to get some information about this game. We can't go into this game blind, and thankfully we have two guys with us today. These guys right here cover the TCU Horned Frogs for Sports Illustrated. They do an awesome job. I've been over there checking them out. Nick Giramonti and also JD Andrus of the KillerFrogs.com, TCU Horned Frogs on SI. How are you guys doing today, man?
Yeah, I like your tone because I think it wraps up what I'm thinking. I'm stoked. Like it's, you have the whole off season, you have the whole hype, but it's game week. I'm ready to get into it. And I'm thrilled to be here, and I appreciate y'all inviting us.
Yeah, thank you guys for having us. We're really excited. I mean, it's at this point, TCU fans have become accustomed to basically being the biggest game of the weekend, and this is no different. A Monday night showdown, Bill Belichick, the greatest NFL coach of all time. I mean, if you need a reason to be excited for this game, then you probably shouldn't be watching.
Labor Day night, 8 p.m. Monday night. It's going to be ESPN Countdown, which quote unquote game day is going to be there. This is the first time that's ever come to Kenan Stadium in the last 25, almost 30 years. For you guys, we were actually just talking about it right before we got on the show here. That and I completely forgot about this. You guys got Deion Sanders at Colorado for his first game, and now you get Bill Belichick. What's that like?
It's a lot of PTSD, if we're being honest. And if we're coming back, like, at least for me personally, that Deion Colorado opening was my least favorite game I've been of as a TCU fan, and that feeling was horrible. Getting embarrassed like that to a team we had no business losing to. Like, even more, we lost a Natty 65-7, literally the game before. So I'm getting a little worried of celebrity coach, new team, not a lot of unknowns. So I'm worried myself, at least just speaking for me.
Look, I'm a Patriots fan, so I idolize Bill Belichick.
Jersey Drake.
So it's the more that I get approached this game, the more I'm like, I don't know if like you talk to the coaches, you talk to the players, they don't know what to expect with this game, and then it's much like Deion Sanders, where Deion Sanders, you didn't know what to expect from him because his coaching staff was new. He was new. Bill Belichick, you don't know what to expect because it's Bill Belichick. You don't know what he's going to throw at you. You don't know what personnel is going to be out there. Like, we were talking about 70 new players. There are so many unknowns that it is like Nick said, PTSD from Colorado.
I gotta say, and honestly, you guys are unknown to us as well. This is the first time North Carolina TCU has played in quite a long time. I can't remember the last time that they played.
Like
so let's get in here. Really, yeah, it's been a long time, but I'm ready to get into this game. So, as North Carolina fans, we always like to ask, what in the world can we expect from the Horned Frogs coming into this season under Sonny Dykes?
Yeah, I can start here. I think there's a lot of confidence with this team. I think because we have a lot returning. Like, honestly, very opposite from North Carolina, where we have a lot of knowns. Our quarterback's returning. He's the star. He's the guy that is coveted and everyone wants. We have a lot of our defense returning. Both our coordinators are returning for the first time in the Dykes era. A lot of the O-line's returning. It's a confidence because we know the type of players that are here. Obviously, we lost big-time players like Jack Best, Savion Williams, and a lot of these playmakers that we were used to last year. So those are an issue. But in terms of the majority of the roster, it's a lot of guys that we know, and I think that's reassuring, especially in today's age of college football.
Yeah, kind of like Nick said, like when you're replacing 3 NFL receivers from last season, you're either going to see regression in your passing system, which with Hoover, who was trying to get poached by Tennessee, which shows how good he is, and then your running game, which was one of the worst in the country at 120th in yards per game. Like you're going to have to find success somewhere, and I think even though that those question marks arise, there's still a lot of confidence that with Kendall Briles calling the plays and all of the returning talent, including the transfers in the running back room, like you're going to see success at somewhere. The question is just going to be, is it going to be from the passing game still, or is your running game going to finally take off like you expect it to?
Well, let's talk about offense and defense. Both units last year were ranked top 40 in PFF grades last year as a unit, which is pretty daggum good. They won 9 games last year, but you guys have one of the best quarterbacks in the Big 12. Obviously, one or two, and honestly, it's a coin flip between him and I forget the other guy. But let's talk about Hoover for a second here. Guy seems like a dog for sure. Last year, 91.5 passing grade down the middle of the field, 5th best in the country there. What is he going to bring in his game that Carolina needs to be on the lookout for?
Yeah, he's going to keep you honest. He's going to make you have to play back. And I think so just to spiral back to last year, and the TCU didn't have a running game. And we had, again, like JD said, 3 NFL wide receivers. So it was, especially in Sonny Dykes' offense, who comes under the Mike Leach tree, it's an air raid. They're going to be a pass-first offense. That's just what they're always going to be under Dykes. So you're going to have to play back. They're going to have to keep you honest, and it's going to be a pass-first type mentality. That's just the fact of what the personnel gives you. So he's definitely a pass-first guy. He has decent legs that'll keep you honest if you're not looking for it, but he's going to be pass first, and the big weapons are Eric McAllister at the top. He's a guy who last year was kind of hidden behind a lot of the top talent that was there. But from camp and what everybody said and what has kind of happened at TCU the past 4 years, where the next guy is always there, he's ready to take the next step. So I think that Hoover to McAllister connection is going to be one of the big highlights that this TCU offense brings.
The big thing with Hoover this year, right, is when you look at his numbers last season, only 1/5 of his targets went to players who weren't receivers. He barely used his tight ends. He barely used his running backs, and that was more because they had to keep the tight ends on the line to help in pass block. They had to keep the running backs in the backfield to help with the chip blocks as well. And when you had 3 NFL-level receivers, you could kind of let them go out against, a 6-man safety look and just be fine with it. But with the way the offensive line is projected to be this year, the running back room, there's a lot more options this year that should limit what was his biggest problem, which was turnovers. And it wasn't necessarily because he's turnover prone. It's just that when you're faced with 3rd and 7s and you have defenses shopping back into 7 coverage, you're going to throw interceptions. It's just bound to happen. But he's expected to take that next step up with having, in my opinion, one of the best tight end rooms in the conference. It's just not talked about enough because there's so much talent 1 through 3.
With Andy Avalos coming into his second full season as the defensive coordinator, what type of coaching philosophy do you think he'll bring this season, where he the later half of last season, the defense really started to click more and than it did in the first half?
Yeah, no, exactly to your point. It was a completely different defense that second half of the year that flipped the script on the season. They started 3-3, struggling to defend Houston, and SMU dropped 60 on them, and it was bad. And I think people adjusted to a new philosophy and style. And I think what's very assuring is, like I said, to open it up, the personnel is back. You have a guy like Bud Clark, who is their leader as a big safety and a big name in college football. And you have a guy like Devin Deal, who was your top pass rusher last year, returning. His brother Marcus Deal in the interior. They have a lot of guys that I think Avalos knows their play style now, and has bought into the system. And it is a complicated scheme, so it takes a while to learn. I think the fact that they now have 2 seasons of learning the system and learning all the different intricacies of play calls, and there's a lot of like show and go pre-snap and all that kind of stuff that takes a while for players to learn. I think they're extremely confident with that connection that the players and all of us and the staff have built. And I think there might be even more confidence with the knowns of the defense more than the offense, which in recent TCU years has not been the case.
Yeah, it's like one of those things that Nick talked about. You have the returning talent, but the difference is that you talk to the players, you talk to the coaching staff. They're not really changing much. Like, they're going to evolve a few play calls. They're going to run a little bit more stunts because they have confidence in their abilities. But what it is it's just a full understanding of the playbook. And rather than going from the first half of last season where you're barely knowing what you have to do on the field to the second half when you saw more success because they knew where everyone had to be, so they really knew their role, to now this year where it's you don't just know what the other player next to you is doing. You know exactly what they're supposed to be doing at every second of that play. And that makes a big difference for these guys. I mean, a lot of the TCU really only has like 5 transfers on their defense that will play meaningful snaps for them. Everyone else is a returning player. Like, that is a lot of talent coming back in the second year of a system that, while it's hard to understand at first, once you know it, it kind of really, as the way the players have said it, opened up their eyes to how this game is played and what they need to do to be able to succeed.
Well, I want to go back to the wide receiver room. You guys lost a lot throughout this offseason, graduation, things of that nature. But one person in particular, Eric McAllister, is returning for you guys for his senior season right here. He came over from Boise State, played 2 years at Boise. He came over last year, recorded 39 receptions on 762 yards, had 5 touchdowns. You guys talked about the Hoover McAllister connection. Where do you think McAllister is, where he is on the field, that is his most dangerous spot?
I would say the outside receiver position, whether that's left or right side. He kind of moved around a little bit last year, depending on the personnel available for the game and just what they're trying to do. He's a tall-bodied, bigger-bodied guy who is quick and can have a lot of yards after catch. But I think when he's best is on the outside, winning routes and high-pointing balls and there's a lot of Hoover McAllister back shoulder connection. And I think the personnel that they brought in allows him to play that outside position comfortably. They brought in a guy in Jordan Dwyer from Idaho who is smaller and plays better on the interior. Joseph Manjack is a very physical slot guy. So McAllister's so comfortable with the fact that Hoover's returning. You have a year of that connection. You have Malcolm Kelly, who's put out some of the most wide receivers in the NFL of any wide receiver coach in the country. So there's such a big comfortability there. And I think you can move McAllister around if you wanted to, but in my opinion, and especially towards the end of last year where Hoover and McAllister really started to click, was at that outside receiver spot where you could throw that back shoulder. You could have that those outside runs that had a lot of success at.
I don't know how much you guys watched TCU like game tape from last season and kind of saw Savion Williams get moved around a lot and kind of play in the backfield, get moved around to the slot. Well, what you're going to see from McAllister this season is basically what they would have used Savion exclusively for last year if they didn't have to move around. Exactly. Just on the outside, a physical specimen of a human, just able to outrun your coverage. He's able to outbody your coverage. He has better hands. Like, he's just able to go up and get a ball that he has no business being able to get. Like Nick just described this wide receiver room, but the best way to look at it is go watch TCU's 3 receivers from last year and basically think of maybe not even a step down of this 3 receiver room, but like a half step down. They're basically all the same player types and archetypes and builds, and that's just how they're going to be used. Like, I really don't think you're going to see much of a change, especially in McAllister. Just he's going to be exclusively on the outside, just letting teams get burnt by him. I mean, he averaged nearly 20 yards per reception last season.
The y'all spoke of all the returners on defense. But my interest, which of the younger guys, maybe your redshirt sophomores, your new incoming transfers, do you think needs to step up, or you've heard has stepped up that will really push this defense to the next level?
Yeah, I'll give a guy that we've talked about in our podcast a lot recently is Max Carroll. He's a linebacker, redshirt sophomore, and they lost two of their better linebackers, I would say, from recent seasons. One in Johnny Hodges and another in Shadrack Banks. So they need one of these linebackers to step up to play alongside a Nnamdi Obiezor and a Caleb Ilarmzor. And I think Max Carroll's that guy. And he showed a lot of flashes from last year, but being able to step up and play routine snaps at that off-ball linebacker position is going to be intriguing to see if he can step up to the challenge. Again, like you hear stuff out of camp that's very intriguing, and we've been excited about the potential that he could give. But you never know until you step on the field, obviously, and I think that's going to be one of the most intriguing things to see.
Yeah, he's not really an underclassman, but Paul Oyewale, Nick kind of briefly touched on him. He's been last season. He was every week on Tuesday availability with Sonny Dykes. Every week he said, he's getting close to playing this week, or he's getting close to returning next week, and he never returned. He was dealing with a long-term kind of Achilles injury that's been bothering him, and if you go on my Twitter account, you can see a picture I have of him. Dude has some of the biggest legs I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, just massive legs. He fires off the ball well. He's fully healthy. He's a full participant in practice, and he's a defensive end for TCU. But he can move and play the inside. He's big enough to be able to do it and run stop. Like, he's having him take the next step. Not only is one a really good sign for him and his health, but two gives TCU so much added depth on the defensive line where they struggled mightily at last year. Like, they've added so much depth overall to the defensive line, but having Oyewale back is like, on the second day of practice, I asked all four players that we talked to after practice what having him back did, and every single one, their smile lit up and they pounded the desk. Like, he's back. Like, that, you could just tell how much he means to this team and to the defense. So having him back is really kind of like a spark that they needed.
Yeah, I will say too, like, going on with the line, TCU lost a lot of their best edge rushers from last year. And I think there's a couple guys, like Zach Chapman is a guy who's a redshirt sophomore who's a freshman All-American last year, who I think is a lot of people are anticipating him taking that next step. And a guy, Travis Jackson, who showed signs as a true freshman last year, who's going into a sophomore season to take a lot of next steps. So there's a lot of guys, like we said, there's a lot returning. And I think a lot of those guys who were almost forced to play on a team that struggled, especially to get to the quarterback and stop the run at times last year. Those guys who, again, were forced to be in that position now show that they can play and get to be in that position this year. So taking that next step is going to be very intriguing, especially on the line, like JD mentioned with Paul and the other two guys thrown in there.
Well, you guys mentioned earlier about your running game and your offensive line not being able to create those holes for you guys last year. I want to talk about the running back position for you guys. A lot of transfers in, it seems like, over there. And the one that seemingly has the most buzz about him is Kavorian Barnes. I think I'm saying that correct.
Yeah,
he seems like he's a front runner to be the main ball carrier for you guys. Talk about that position a little bit. What can Carolina expect coming? With all the transfers coming in, is Kavorian at the top of that list? And do you feel like this is going to be a better, more well-rounded running back room for you guys this year?
Yeah, for me at least, it's still one of the biggest mysteries of this team and one of the biggest worries, I should say, just because it was bad last year. Like, their inability to not run the ball cost them games, and it was apparent. And they brought in Kavorian Barnes, but I think he was the only transfer they brought in, and they were kind of hoping for a guy. They had two freshmen last year who showed signs, especially towards the end of the season, Jeremy Payne and Nate Palmer. They have a true freshman coming in, John Denman, and they have a fifth-year guy in Trent Battle there. So Kevorian Barnes has had a way better camp than I think a lot of people expected coming from UTSA, who had success there but had just been injured recently. So he is probably going to be the main RB1 right now, but it's a thing where they are going to have a running back by committee, and I think whoever starts off the game on the hottest foot come Chapel Hill on Monday night is going to get the majority of carries, and I don't think the coaches know exactly who that's going to be until we're into that game already.
Right.
Yeah. One thing about Kevorian Barnes, and Nick kind of briefly touched on it, but is in his 2 seasons at UTSA where he was where he was used, he averaged 4.6 yards and 6.2 yards per carry each year, respectively. And that's not just on 30 carries. That was on 130 plus carries both years. He has shown that he has the ability to kind of take over a backfield. But Jeremy Payne, on the other hand, he's if you ask any TCU fan who they're most excited to take a step up this year, it's going to be Jeremy Payne. He has all the intangibles. He can run block really well. He's a great pass catcher out the backfield. He has great ball carrier vision, excellent speed. He will run you over or juke you out, and you don't know what he's going to do. And half the time, I don't think he does either. He's just insanely talented that having a 1-2 punch of him and Barnes is just something that TCU thought they had last year and then ended up not having a 1 through 3 really. So having that is kind of the breath of fresh air this offense needs.
Think about all your defensive rooms. You can split the DBs and the safeties if you want. What room stands out to you that has the potential to make the most noise, as in being the best? And then what room do you look at and be like, that's a real weakness there? There can be some exposure there that other teams could hit on.
Yeah, I would say for me, the most exciting and make the most noise is the safety room. I think Bud Clark, I don't know if you guys know the name, but he's one of the top returning safeties in the country, and I think he'll probably get his name called in the NFL draft if he has a good season this year. Him alone, but Jamel Johnson is a guy who had the green dot on him for last year's and as a sophomore and tested the portal this year and had a lot of interest, but fortunately for TCU, came back. Those guys are just 2 household names, at least within the Big 12, that are, very thought of high. And TCU's had a good history with safeties, and I think that's going to stand out this year. Then they add the guy like Kylan Jackson, transfer, and Kaden McFadden's shown signs. So that room's going to get a lot of the name recognition and spark. A room that a lot of people are excited for, but last year it was a huge issue, is the cornerback room. And they didn't really bring in a specific name outside of maybe Elijah Jackson. So they're counting on a lot of guys who were here last year, a lot of guys were hurt and coming back, and a lot of people are very high on, but there's still question marks there. Like a guy like Avery Helm and Vernon Glover both tore their ACLs last year before the season started and were both expected to have big seasons. Now they're both back. And then guys who took their places, like Channing Canada or Devondre McGee or Austin Jordan, are there now to take the next step. But until you have seen a definite success from that position group, which struggled last year, I think it's similar to the running back room where there's a lot of encouragement that it will be better. And Dykes has spoken a lot about that. But until you see the results on the field, I think that's still going to be a question mark for me.
Yeah, I'm kind of the secondaries is my strength of the team, and it's more so because of the safeties like Nick talked about, but also kind of what he said with the weaknesses. There's guys on this depth chart that aren't starting, but were projected starters last season, and that just kind of shows to one of that fortunate things where it looked bad last year, but now you have 4 players with game experience who are already incapable to start. I guess the biggest question mark to me is just kind of going to be the linebacker room. Your secondary is going to be so good. Your defensive line is expected to be better. They have a lot of depth. You can rotate more guys in. You got size there now. They're not going to get pushed around. And the linebackers isn't because I think they're going to be different or bad. It's just because Johnny Hodges was the TCU linebacker the last 2 seasons. And I mean, that dude was what you expected when you thought of a middle linebacker. Cowboy collar, jersey basically tucked into the shoulder pads. He was flying around ready to break his nose on anything that moved. If he could play without a helmet, he probably would have. Like, he's the guy that Bill Belichick would have wanted on his team. He was a lacrosse player at Navy. Like, he's exactly who he would have wanted on his team. Like, and now you're kind of replacing him with Caleb Elam-Zor, who was a very talented player when he transferred into TCU before last season. And so you're not expecting a drop off because Caleb Elam-Zor has shown that he's a talented linebacker himself last season. But I think you're looking at two different styles of how linebackers have played under Avalos' system. So it's just kind of a question mark on how they'll merge together.
I will throw in too, like the interior D line is also a worry for me, I would say, because they had a lot of struggle stopping the run, and they lost a lot of players from that position. Like Marcus Steele's, I would say their best interior D lineman and will be the best at stopping the run. But the next three guys there are, transfers, and that's always a question mark when you have transfers coming in. And when that was already a weakness last season, that scares me a little bit. I know y'all don't have Amari and Hampton anymore, but still stopping the run regardless is a worry of mine for sure.
Oh, don't worry. You get to go against a guy and they call Bullet. So you guys will have a good time with that one.
No. It's Benjamin Hall from Michigan.
It'll be Bullet.
I'm telling you.
Davion Goss will come in there and play. But no, I think this is going to be a fun matchup. It's a matchup of the unknowns. Both teams don't know really. You guys have a better gauge of what's coming to the field for you guys than we do, of course. This is going to be a fun time. But we're looking forward to that Monday night. It's going to be great. We're going to be doing a watch party, hanging out with our viewers and having a good time. So live for everybody. But a couple of quick fun questions that we want to pitch to you guys. Alan, I'll leave the signature one to you, but I'm going to ask one that just kind of thought of. Favorite TCU uni set? What's your favorite one? What's the one that you hope that they bring out night one?
I personally love the icy whites. The all white,
they're stormtroopers.
At the toe, and like
stormtroopers.
I will say one thing: this uniform matchup, it doesn't get much better than this, in my opinion. I think y'all have the best. Not just because I'm on the pod with you. I think y'all have the best uniforms, basketball, football, everything. I mean, the Rocket and Carolina Blue is undefeated, but I think TCU's are pretty good themselves. And when they rock the icy whites, they wore that when they beat Michigan in the playoffs, so maybe that's got something to do with it. But yeah, the icy whites for me.
Yeah, the icy whites are my favorite set. But if we're being, I don't care. I know they're not. It's not a Rose Bowl. Bring back the frog with the rose from the Rose Bowl. It's one of my favorite helmets of all time.
That was cool.
That was pretty neat.
Also, talk about the uniform matchup. How awesome is it that this is a night game, so you really get to see the uniforms pop under the lights? It makes it so much better between. Yeah. I mean, if TC's in the icy whites, you guys in the blue, like college football will be blessed that Monday night. As long as it's a good game and not a slot fest because it's Bill Belichick's defense and an unknown kind of situation going on.
Yeah, I'm looking for a good, a fun game. And we're, I know Carolina and Kenan Stadium, we just got a makeover. So we got real grass that came back to Carolina that we hadn't had over the last 5 years. And then also it's getting a little bit of a Navy colorway potentially for night one. We don't know yet. We know they're coming back. There's a Navy uniform that we that we haven't worn, I think 3 years now. So they're making a return, but I'm looking forward because this is going to be a pretty game on television.
100%.
Yeah, this is definitely a game made for TV.
Absolutely.
All right, so my fun question is, and we kind of just stumbled upon this question last year. Mm-hmm. So say we're at a TCU game. What type of is there a weird tradition you guys have before a game? Like I'll give you an example. So at the Charlotte 49ers game, like they have like this ambulance, right? And
Yeah.
it's got like an axe handle and it's got 3 holes drilled into the axe handle that holds shot glasses. And like 3 people like take a shot off the axe handle, blah, blah, blah. Like apparently even like their like school president has been a part of this. So
Former
that's kind
UNC
of like
grad.
There you go.
you
There's
know,
the connection.
something like Minnesota like drinks a bunch of milk.
They bring in
Um,
18 wheelers, like gas tanker trucks, but
Jeez.
they're filled with milk.
That's Big Ten football.
Duke
That's it.
plays the opposing team's fight song.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Virginia does like a cartoon up there on their video board.
Cartoon up on the big board. So anything cool like that at you guys' stadium pregame?
Yeah, we do like so we'll have like a riff ram bazoo. That's our thing, riff ram bazoo. That's like our big chant every time we have a touchdown or opening the game. We have a horn that's just a big like purple frog that they blast the horn every time.
You can hear it
But I
4
would
miles
say-
away, by the way.
Yeah, that's
See,
very loud.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
but
I would say
you can hear 4 miles away. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
perfect.
I don't know how familiar you are with it, but during the 2022 run of the national championship, we had a hypnotoad. Are you familiar with that? So it originated in Futurama, and they basically it's a cartoon toad that hypnotizes, and they would do these crazy edit videos to where like if TCU needed a run, they put the hypnotoad on the big screen, and then good things would happen after it. So they ran with it, and then we went 12-0 that season and went to the Natty. So that stuck. Yeah, if you look up the hypnotoad, now it's stuck to where like if we land a big recruit, Sonny Dykes will post a GIF on X.com, the everything app, the hypnotoad to signify something good happening. So that would be, I would say, our weirdest one for sure. We sold merch, we did everything. It's almost our second mascot at this point.
I'd
That
say
is cool.
the other weird thing is if you go back and look at TCU's football account, go look at the games they win and look at the .mp4 files and watch those videos, and you'll be in for a treat from the official account. They're just a minute filled with memes making fun of your opponent and frogs. That's literally all it is.
Well, we'll find out on Saturday.
Riff Ram. Watch your That's our favorite fan right there.
Our game against the North Carolina Tar Heels will now be played on Monday, September 1st instead of Saturday, August 30th.
And it's essentially something that started from 2022 and 2023 as well. That's like, when it didn't happen at the beginning of last season, people were mad that it wasn't happening, that now it's back again.
Yeah, I do think it is
that.
retired now.
Yeah, I don't want to be on the receiving end of frog humor. I don't want to do
Yeah, the guy that was doing it last year graduated, so unfortunately it may be done. But yeah, if you have some time on your hands before the game, just go to X and search the TCU official TCU football account and put .mp4, and hopefully all of them will come up. It's some fun content over there.
I am writing this down for the live watch party, and we're gonna view this stuff live.
Yes,
during the watch party.
It'll be
before the
entertaining.
game starts.
Yeah, they're very good. Like, they're very well done.
Yeah,
some of them will leave you like, what did I just watch? And some of them you'll be laughing from start to finish.
yeah. So a lot of our weirdest traditions are actually relatively new, but
That's cool though.
Yeah.
It's good to see traditions still being created.
Yes,
like that is the cool part that I like
100%.
a whole lot.
Except the
At least
horn,
you're not
that's
like-
been forever. That's been around forever.
the frog horn, the riff ram bazoo, and all that kind of stuff.
If you sit in the section right behind the horn, they give you headphones, like earphones for the game, because it's that loud. Like, it is.
Yeah.
There are people like, it is the last claimed season tickets every single season because no one wants to sit behind the horn. It is that loud.
Oh my gosh! I want to be
Like,
cutting grass.
I used to
Oh,
live
touchdown.
3.5 miles away from the stadium, and I could hear it clear as day.
It's loud.
God, that is great.
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's the kind of stuff you can only find right here on the Scouting Report, guys.
Yeah, you're only going to find that on the Hill Brothers podcast. I'm telling you.
That's it. Nick,
Nobody else is gonna
JD,
have
I
that
want
information.
I want you guys to tell the people where you guys are, where they can find you. If you're a brand new TCU listener and you've never heard of the killerfrogs.com, be sure go check them out. Nick, JD, tell them where to find you.
Yeah, like you said, just go to killerfrogs.com for all articles and video pods and stuff like that. But the main place where I say to find me is on X at Giramonte Nicky. That's at GIRIMONTENICKY. And yeah, all my stuff I post there. So that's basically the one place you got to search.
Yeah, Nick's almost got a Mickey Mouse Clubhouse theme song going on whenever you
Yeah.
his social media tag. You can find me on X, JD Andrus, ANDRESS 11. I pretty much covered the entire state of Texas. I'm not just limited to TCU. So if you like all things football and even the MLB at this point, I mean, you can find me dropping news, covering games, writing every day. So anything you got, come ask. Nick and I I'm sure we'll be tweeting our own thoughts during the North Carolina game and sharing
Is
what we've been
this year
talking
for the
about.
Cowboys?
What do you say? Wait,
Nick works for Nick. Yeah, they asked us to see at the Cowboys. Nick works for the team, so I don't think he's at liberty to say, but I can tell you now.
Yeah, I work for the Cowboys, but it's been amazing.
Are you at liberty to say that Javonte is a dog?
Javonte is a dog. Javonte is a dog.
Love that guy so much. He did a lot for us.
Yeah. Also, I think we're about to have y'all on our podcast. That's Horned Up. Literally just search Horned Up on wherever you get your podcast. It'll be up there. So excited to hear about more of the North Carolina point of view and TCU football podcast the rest of the season.
We will be doing a whole heck of a lot more research, trying to figure out who the heck our team is than we had to do for you guys. I'll put it to you that way. So
yeah, that's what I was thinking about the game too. It's funny because it's so many returners for us, and we've kind of stayed out of the spotlight for the most parts of the offseason. Y'all have had the complete opposite, where y'all have been in the spotlight for all of the reasons, which is
we
fun.
got hoisted up like daggum Simba. I tell you, it's crazy. But
yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much.
Thank
you guys for joining us, man. This has been a great time. Be sure check out thekillerfrogs.com. Also go check up Horned Up, their podcast on the TCU Horned Frogs. They've been awesome, man. Thank you guys so much for being with us. Can't wait to see how this game turns out. And looking forward to this game day. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. And as always, go Heels.